Hey my lovely people. As a lot of you requested, I do a sound design series now. Most of the people want to know how to create a sound like ILLENIUM. He has a very powerful and kinda emotional sound, what triggers an emotional reaction instantly in his listeners. But guys, now you have the question. How does he produce his extremely powerful and thick sound? Bro, chill. Lean back. I have the golden keys to the secret answer. Because the couple years I teleported myself into ILLENIUM's mind and I saw what he did. I am kidding. I just observed almost every ILLENIUM tracks the couple years, and I watched his Twitch live streams, so know almost exactly what he does to achieve this great sound. And guys, don't worry. I don't tell you that you just have to create a super saw, a few future bass type drums, sidechain, and then you have instantly an ILLENIUM track. That's not how this thing works. This whole topic is much more complex. When you really pay attention to a few tricks I show you in this tutorial, you will learn much more than in most ILLENIUM tutorials on YouTube. That was a big flex, but guys, I'll prove it to you now. My lovely students, the first thing you have to understand when you want to create a full sound like ILLENIUM is that you just can't create a super saw and then you hope that you get ILLENIUM vibes. A super saw is just a little fraction of an ILLENIUM style sound. The secret in a big ILLENIUM style sound is one word. The word is layering. 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 Keep this in mind. You have to layer lots of different sounding sounds to achieve such a full and diverse sound as ILLENIUM. And as I said, it is very important that you combine lots of different sounding sounds. You probably need 5 different super saws, maybe 5 different basses, electric guitars, pianos, strings, atmosphere sounds, different lead melodies, plucks, vocal chops, and much more probably. And ILLENIUM loves to distort the crap out of these things to create a really crispy sound. My people, now is the moment of truth. I show you how to create the real ILLENIUM style super saw in Sylenth 1. ILLENIUM only uses Sylenth 1 for his own super saws, by the way. You open Sylenth 1 and you have a completely blank of paper basically. First we put in some ILLENIUM chords and let's listen what this blank paper sounds like. You are right. It sounds like crap. The first thing we gonna do is, we drag the 3 polyphony up to 16 because we want to get the full sound. Then we go to oscillator A1 and we choose a saw wave. Then to give it more power we drag it up to 6. We set off the trigger everywhere because we don't need it. We decrease the volume a bit to here. We add a little bit of phasing and a tiny bit of detune. ILLENIUM uses saw waves that are not that much detuned. That we drag the stereo knob to here and we pan the whole thing to the left side. Then guys, we pull it down 1 octave. Oscillator 1 is now done. We are going further to oscillator A2. We choose a saw wave again, but this time we add 7 voices instead of 6 voices, because we pan oscillator 2 to the right side so the sound gets wider. I give it full volume. I leave the phase as it is. We add a little bit of detune. We decrease the stereo knob a bit. Now we going further to filter A. We click on low pass filter and we drag the cutoff up to here. We add a little bit of drive for the modulation envelope. We add cutoff E and B and we drag the knob to here. For the modulation envelope 2 we choose pitch E and B. Here is the oscillator B1. Here we want to add some white noise to make the sound more crunchy. We choose white noise and decrease the volume. We give it 8 voices. And for oscillator B2 we add a tri-saw wave. We add 6 voices of unison. We let it play an octave lower, and we decrease the volume a bit. We pull the phase all the way up. And give it a pretty amount of detune. Then we also add in low pass filter and select the input filter B and we drag the cutoff knob to here. Then guys, we enable the chorus and play with these knobs till it sounds better. Then we enable the EQ button and we EQ it a tiny bit like this. And guys, our freaking beautiful ILLENIUM main super saw is done. But guys, we need to add a few effects to make it more ILLENIUM style. We add the kickstart for the sidechain effect. We add an EQ and cut out the low frequencies and some of the around 7 Hz and 7 kHz frequencies. And we give it a little bit of OTT compression. thought's a pretty nice foundation, but we need to add a few different sounding supersaws to fill up the sound a bit, so we create another one. First we pull up the polyphony up to 16. 1 octave lower. Full volume. We pull up the phase up to here. A little bit of detune. Full stereo. And we pan the sound all the way to the left. Select 8 voices of unison, set of the retrigger. And this time we choose a quarter pulse wave. For the filter we choose a low pass. Select input A, and drag the cutoff to here. Add some resonance and some drive. For the modulation choose cutoff A and B and drag the knob to here. For oscillator A2 we choose a half pulse wave. Put it an octave lower. Full volume. No phase. A slighty bit of detune. Stereo all the way up and pan it to the right side. Then set of the retrigger and select 8 voices. Then we go to part B, and for oscillator B1 we just choose some white noise. Set of the retrigger and drag the volume down very much, and then select 8 voices. For oscillator B2 we choose a tri-saw wave, 8 voices. Set of retrigger, lower the octave. Decrease the volume, put the phase up. Give it some nice detune. Done. Without any processing, our second supersaw sounds like this. For the EQ I cut out some lows and some frequencies around here. To clean it up even more I've done it 2 times. A very important step is to distort the crap out of it. I added a decapitator and pull of the drive. Then kickstart and done. You might think that these saw is not that powerful. Yes guys, you are right. But the purpose of the saw is to fill up the whole sound in the high frequency area, and for that purpose this saw is really nice. Just listen to the main supersaw alone, and together with these supportive high supersaw. Together it sounds so much better. Next we need to add a really high sounding supersaw. For the supersaw we add a saw wave. We select 6 voices, set of retrigger as always. Decrease the volume a bit, 1 octave lower. A little bit of phase. The amount of detune. Decrease the stereoness. And pan it to the left side. Here we select the saw wave 2. 7 voices. Set of retrigger. 1 octave lower. Full volume. No phase. Tiny bit of detune. Decrease stereo. And put it to the right up to here. We select a low pass filter. Set to cutoff to here. Add some drive. Drag the cutoff to here. Add some key track. For the modulation we choose cutoff A and B and drag the knob to here. Here we add pitch A and B. Now we go to part B. Select white noise. 8 voices. Set of retrigger. Decrease the volume. For oscillator B2 we add a tri-saw wave. 5 voices. Set of retrigger. Click on inverted. 1 octave lower. Decrease the volume. Add lots of phase. Give it some detune. Then we add a low pass filter and drag the cutoff to here and give it some drive. Make sure to let it play an octave higher than the rest. With some distortion and EQ it sounds like this. Let's listen to our 3 supersaws together. This sounds very thick. Our next sound will be very detuned. We choose a saw wave, select 8 voices, set this off. Pull up the detune. Here select cutoff A, pull up this knob. Here select cutoff B, also pull up this knob. For this oscillator we select the sine wave, select 8 voices. Set this off. Pull up the detune. And 1 octave lower. Don't forget to pull up the polyphony. For part B we select the saw wave again. 8 voices. Set this off. Much detune, an octave lower. Here we take some white noise, 8 voices. I'll decrease the volume till it sounds good. And this is what our detuned saw wave sounds like with processing. Let's see what it does to our whole mix. It fills up the empty spaces. So guys, these 4 super saws are the main foundation of an ILLENIUM style drop. And this is the actual way how he designs and layers his sounds. But he also uses presets and sounds from sound banks like Omnisphere to fill up his mix even more. For example, he uses the presets Flaming Super Saws. The key is that you give it some distortion. With processing it sounds like this. In case you don't have Omnisphere, I recommend to you to use any kind of string sound or orchestral sound in general to achieve a similar sound to that. For example, you can use the vinyl strings in Nexus. It sounds great also. ILLENIUM also uses very atmospheric sounds, and he also distorts them. He loves to use Omnisphere sounds similar to this. With distortion it sounds like this. In case you don't have Omnisphere, I show you how you can create a similar sounding pad in Synth 1. For oscillator A1 you select the sine wave. Select 6 voices. Set a retrigger. Full volume, a bit detune. Full stereo and pan it to the left. Here you also select the sine wave. 5 voices. Set retrigger on. Full volume. A bit detune. And pan it to the right. Oh, please don't forget to set the polyphony to 16 that all 16 notes are playing. With processing these sick pads sounds like this. Ah, and don't forget to add a little bit chorus, reverb and compression. And my friends, let's listen how our drop sounds with these 2 Omnisphere presets. Now guys, I show you how ILLENIUM makes some of his very sick lead sounds. Basically for his track Lonely he used this sound in Omnisphere and he distorted it. This is what it sounds like without, and with effects on. You can also create a similar sound in Synth 1. Choose a saw wave. 8 voices. Set this off. Decrease volume to here. Give it some phase and retune. Then pan it to the left. Then choose a sine wave. Select 6 voices. Set this off. Full volume. Give it some phase and retune. Pan it to the right. Then guys, add some white noise. Decrease the volume. Then guys, add another sine wave. 4 voices. Set this off. Decrease volume. Give it detune. Then give it some overdrive distortion. Chorus, reverb and compression. To make the lead melody more unique, we add a filter automation in the beginning. Set of the resonance and high pass. Right-click on cutoff and create an automation click. Then make a automation. Then guys, we also make a pitch automation. We click on our plugin. Click here on preferences. Set this to 12. Then, play with this knob. Then click here. Click on last tweaked. Then create automation clip. And set the automation. Done. Now friends, I show you how you create a real ILLENIUM style bass layer. You can achieve a real ILLENIUM style bass out of 3 bass layers, 2 mid basses, and 1 sub bass. The first mid bass we create should be very present in this frequency area right here. I show you how it's made. You select a quarter pulse wave. Select 2 voices. Set a retrigger. 1 octave down. Decrease volume a bit. Give it some detune. Here select the saw wave. 1 voice. Set this off. 1 octave down. Decrease volume. Select a low pass filter. Set the cutoff to here. Then choose another quarter pulse wave. Select 3 voices. Set on retrigger. 2 octaves down. Decrease volume. Give it very much detune. Then select white noise. 2 voices. Set retrigger on. Bring down the volume very much. Then we add a high pass filter and set the cutoff to here. For the modulation envelope we select cutoff B and drag the knob to here. For the LFO we select pitch B, set the knob to here. And here we select volume A and set the knob to here. The second mid bass is to be very gritty and rough. In Serum I select a PNW Juno wave, 7 voices of unison. Give it very much detune. Here you select FM from beat. For the effects I added compression and distortion. Then, put the sound 2 octaves down. For the other oscillator we choose a Dicewatech wave, 7 voices of unison. Give it some detune. Put it 2 octaves down and done. With processing it sounds like this. And guys, for the sub bass I just selected a sine wave and put it down 2 octaves. ILLENIUM loves to play some electric guitar loops into his projects. Therefore I played a simple guitar loop into my project also. This gives your tracks more depth and it sounds more organic. What ILLENIUM does also, he put in a whole orchestra ensemble with about 20 different tracks in his songs. I just made a little ensemble with Omnisphere, but you can use any orchestra plugin for this. Guys, for the vocal chop I dragged in the original vocal chop. When you work with an a cappella, you basically cut out some parts of it. Then you reverse it and pitch it till it sounds good. This is what ILLENIUM does. I will show you it in another project, because for this project I don't have an a cappella to work with. Then guys, I dragged in some samples of my future bass sample pack and we are finally done. Before the drop I put in the original vocal chop. We can now listen to what we just created. My ladies and gentlemen, this is the real ILLENIUM sound design tutorial and how he achieves his badass sound. Guys, I recommend to you to check out my future bass sample pack because it includes all different kinds of chord sounds with which you achieve similar results like this. The chords I showed you in this video are also in the pack. And the samples also. If you want you can buy only what you need. For example, you only have Synth 1, you can only purchase the Synth 1 presets also. Just try out all different kinds of chords and combine and layer them and find out what works for you personally. So guys, thanks for watching. I love you.